Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. All praises due to Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Seated. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we give Him praise and thanks for His creation, for His prophets, and the scriptures which they brought to guide human beings. We thank Allah for Moses and the Torah, for Jesus and the Gospel, for Muhammad and the Holy Quran. Peace be upon these worthy servants of Allah. I am, as a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, eternally grateful to Allah for His intervention in our affairs, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the great Mahdi, who came among us and raised from among us the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and gave him to us as a divine leader, teacher, and guide. I believe him to be the Messiah that the world has been looking for. In their names, I greet you, my dear brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. I am very grateful to Allah for the presence of each of you, for those who are in the ministry, in the imamate, those of you who are activists and leaders, and those who are just interested in knowing what we have to say. I am anxious to get this subject matter over to you, and I want you to pay very strict attention to every word. I have chosen as a subject today the divine destruction of America. Can she avert it? America is the greatest nation on this earth and the greatest nation in the last 6,000 years. But America and her people, which includes you, face divine destruction. The question is, can she avert it? In the Holy Quran, in the 7th surah or chapter, in the 34th verse, it reads, "And every nation has a term. So when its term comes, they cannot remain behind the least while, nor can they precede it." If every nation has a term, does America have a term? And if so, what is the time. A term is a time or period to which something lasts. It is a period of time to which limits have been set, conditions or stipulations limiting what is proposed to be granted or done. So if every nation has a time to which some limits have been set, what time is it for America? And what limits have been set? In the book of Revelations, the 13th chapter, the 18th verse, it reads, "Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count or calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, 666." Some translations say it is the number of a man, 666. The word calculate is trying to teach us that we must ascertain the beast and the man by mathematical methods. We have to compute now what this number means. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count, calculate the number of the beast. The beast and his term has to be calculated, for the beast number is the number of a man. 666. So we're dealing with a man that has characteristics like a beast. The book of Revelations closes, or is the closing of the Bible. It talks about 4 beasts. One of those beasts more terrible than the others. And that beast was taken and utterly destroyed, and its body given to the burning flames. Now you have a beast being destroyed, and you have fire, and you have to calculate time. Now the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is a principal helper in this calculation. And most of us, as black people in America, have not understood the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, nor have we understood his value to us to get us through what's about to come down on America. Now, either Elijah Muhammad is a man from God or he is not. If he is not, then we can dismiss me and what I have to say. But I don't think that you can dismiss me. And if you cannot dismiss the student, then you certainly cannot dismiss the teacher. Now, we have these numbers, 666. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us that what we are entering into now is the judgment of the present world and its order. This world belongs to the Caucasian people. The number of the beast and the number of the man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the beast is a man, but the number of the beast is compared to the number of the original man, which is also on the number 6. The Holy Quran and the Bible teach us that God made man on the 6th day, I think it was. The Holy Quran, well, the Bible says he made everything in 6 days. The Holy Quran says that Allah created the heavens and the earth in 6 periods of time. So 6 is the number of the originator, and 6 is the number of the beast. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the white race is not a natural man, but a man that came through a process of birth control, through a system of grafting. You can take it or leave it. The white people are not an ancient people, they are a new people on our earth. So the first 6, which is 600, could refer to the 600 years that it took on the island of Patmos or Pelan to graft this new people out of the original. Some of the foolish among us make mockery of these teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was being interviewed by a Harvard scholar, Dr. Henry Louis Gates, and Dr. Gates was saying how brilliant he thought the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was to craft this mythology, to get so many people to believe in this mythology. And I said to Mr. Gates, I said, sir, it's interesting to me that rather than give Elijah Muhammad credit for having received revelation, you would say he made up something that caught the fancy of the ignorant. Here's a man that went to the 4th grade of school and completed it, but he crafted a mythology that has mystified the scholars and the scientists. Now, either white people were here and they didn't come from us, or they did come from us. And their scholars are saying today that the original people are the black people of the earth. They are bearing witness to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So then, if you cannot produce a white man naturally, then what was the process by which he was brought on the earth? And for what purpose was the white man brought here? This is not racist teaching. This is actual facts. And before we leave today, you're going to have to deal with what I tell you. It may keep you up all night, all tomorrow, for a week or a month, but you're going to have to deal with what I tell you today. Now look, Jesus said to the Jews, I know you. You are of your father, the devil. He was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. So if the father was a liar and a murderer from the beginning, then lying and murder was born into the very nature of the people. Listen. The island of Patmos or Pelon was a womb. And whatever goes on outside the womb affects the nature of that which is being formed in the womb. If lying and murder, murder of the darker, saving the lighter, marrying the lighter on to the lighter, murdering the darker, saving the lighter, and this went on for 600 years until a pale people was produced. Listen, human beings, but a different kind of human being. Let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let us give them power and dominion. That's how the white man got power. It was given to him divinely, but a certain limit and term was set on the white man's rule. You can take it or leave it, but I believe you're going to take it today. Why was their term limited? It was limited because their rule would be contrary to the eternal principles of truth and justice upon which the universe is based. And since the universe is based on the eternal principles of truth and justice, no unjust world can have any permanence in a universe balanced by justice. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. So then, if white folk created or made a world that is unjust, lies and murder and stealing at the root of this world, then this world can have no permanence in God's universe of truth. So there would come a time when this world would be judged and destroyed. We're on the same page? That is attested to in the Quran, in the Bible, that this world was doomed from its inception to be destroyed. All right. So we have 600, meaning the years it took to produce this people out of the original. There were 60,000 human beings, black human beings, involved in that process. And the last 6 represents 2 things. I'll get to the second thing that it represents later. But the first thing that the 6 represents is 6,000 years. After he had gone 6,000 years, his time is up, then God comes and the process of removal of his power and authority and himself begins. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that this 6 also could mean 60 years of grace, not to exceed 70, which means that on the time of God's coming and raising up a person to warn and deliver the message, from that moment grace begins. I'll get to that a little later, and we're going to calculate some time here. Now, both the Bible and the Quran speak of judgment and the hour and the day. The day of judgment and then the hour of doom. And if you look at the hour, in the hour you have 60 minutes. And in the minute you have 60 seconds. So the man whose hour has come is the man of 6. The doom, the hour now in the day of judgment has arrived. It said, no man knoweth the hour but the Father. That means the hour of total destruction. And today I would like to inform you of how this destruction will take place. And I can only pray that you and I won't be in it. Now, in the book of Revelations, 14th chapter, the 6th and 7th verse, listen to this. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. I want to stop here with you a moment, and I hope that all of you are ready to think today. Look, here's another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach. Here is the Bible. And that which Jesus was given is called Bushra or Injil, which is gospel. Here's the book, Bible. Is this the everlasting gospel? Just think. Is this Quran the everlasting gospel? Is it? How do you know? How do you know? There got to be proof. Either it is or it isn't. If this is not the everlasting gospel, then there's a time set on these books. Well, that's a fact. But we have to know. Look, brothers and sisters, neither of these books is the everlasting gospel. And I'd like to take a moment to prove it. It won't take but a moment. In the Bible, this gospel is to be preached, right? To every nation, kindred, and tongue. But then this book says, I saw the Lamb, John talking, and 144,000 on another shore singing a new song, right? This book says, Bible, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has it even entered into the heart of man to conceive what lies beyond the destruction of this world. So this could not be the everlasting gospel. Not this. It's good news, all right, but it's not the eternal good news. What about the Quran? Well, sorry about this, but this isn't either. The Quran only takes us up to the hereafter, the door of it, but it doesn't admit us in. And this book says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has it even entered into the heart of man to perceive or conceive what lies beyond the judgment of this world. This book takes you right up through the judgment. This book takes you right up through the judgment, but the guidance of the hereafter, where there is no term limit set, that is eternal on the other side, then there must be an everlasting gospel that will be preached on the other side of the destruction of this world. So a new book is coming. I want you to hear me. Now, brothers, sisters, Allah says in the Quran that He is master of the day of judgment. Tell me something. Why should there even be a judgment? Why? I mean, is there necessity for it? Many of you, my dear brothers, have been before the judges. And my dear brothers who've been before the judges, you know that these judges do not judge with justice. And some of you been before them enough that you don't even expect justice when you go. Is that right? Now, we can take our cases to court. It's natural. It's what a good citizen should do. But the judges of this world are not just judges. And because there's no real justice in this world, this is why the world is to be judged. And this is why there is a day of judgment and a limit set on America and this world. Now, what is the judgment? Judgment. When you get a judgment, what does that mean? I know you know. If anybody knows, we know. When you get a judgment, that means that a judge has rendered a decision. And that decision is called the judgment. The judgment is the ability to judge, to make a decision or form an opinion objectively, authoritatively, and wisely, especially in matters affecting action, good sense, discretion. Misfortune, regarded as afflicted by divine sentence, is also a judgment. Also, the last judgment, the final trial of all mankind, both the living and the dead, at the end of the world. So when we talk about judgment, we're talking about one, God's forming a decision. And God's decision comes down against America and against this world. Well, usually there's a clerk of the court, somebody that has to read the decision. Yes, sir. Now, the judge, you know where it came from, but your eyes are fastened on the clerk. Well, what is it? Yes, sir. And if the decision is against you, the question is, what kind of power do you have to overturn that decision. Now God, listen carefully now, has sent down his decision. He intends to wipe out America. I'm going to say it again. I said God has sent down his decision. His intention is the total destruction of America. Now I know you say you're an American, and there's nothing wrong with that. Say what you will. But the question is America good? And by what standard? And if America has exceeded the limits, then the question is, after God has sent down his decision, somebody has to make it known, publish the decision. There is no appeal. Don't have to waste time. But there is a way to get out from it. It's very narrow, it's very limited, but you can avoid it. And I want to tell you how sometime this afternoon. Now, what is your position, black man, in this judgment? Whether you know it or not, you are the reason why God is judging America. Even as it was in ancient Egypt, it was the children of Israel and Pharaoh's mistreatment of them that caused God's appearance and his judgment. It was the Hebrews in Babylon, their presence and their mistreatment, that caused God's judgment of Babylon. It is your mistreatment at the hands of white people that has caused God to send down his judgment on America. Now you, in your silliness, are so forgiving. White folk ain't even asked for forgiveness. I want you to hear me. White folk haven't even acknowledged that they did you wrong. They have not repented for what they did to your fathers and what they're doing to you and what they plan against your future. But God knows their thoughts, their plans, and because he knew them before they came into existence, he planned their destruction before they were born. I want you to hear me. Black people in America, whether you want to believe it or not, are very special to the Lord of creation. Not because you've been good. As you know, you certainly have not been good. But God has chosen people in the past who were not good. But he had a purpose for them, and therefore he chose them to be his people. For his purpose, you have been chosen to be God's people, to do a very special work for God. But you are all wrapped up in the people he came to destroy. You want to integrate with your enemy. You want to marry your enemy. You are in love with your enemy. So if God sends down his judgment on the enemy that you are in love with, you say, no, God, I ain't going with you if I can't bring white folk with me. Yes, this is you. Some of you say, to hell with you, God. I know there's some good white people. And you start making yourself busy trying to find somebody good that you can tell God, see, you're wrong, God. You remind me of Abraham. When the angels came to Abraham and told Abraham that they were going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham said, would you destroy the righteous with the wicked? He said, well, go see if you can find 50. If you find 50, I'll spare the city. He couldn't find 50. He said, go back, see if you can find 40. See if you can find 30. Then he said, go and see if you can bring me one outside of Lot and his family. If you can bring me one, I'll spare the city. See, God delays judgment so that his people will see that the people he has judged are worthy of what they're about to get. Do you hear me? Now, it's not an accident that in today's times your churches are being burned down. You want to call Farrakhan Antichrist. But I'm not burning churches. I respect the church as a house of God. But somebody is burning your churches. That ain't all they're going to burn. God is going to make you cry out for the destruction of your enemy, because he's going to send that enemy to destroy you because of your unwillingness to come out of her. Listen. In the book of Revelations, talks about a mystery Babylon. A mystery Babylon. Well, there was an ancient Babylon that we know about. But John the Revelator was talking about a mystery Babylon. And according to the English interpretation, the word mystery means unknown, uncertain, obscure, concealed, a secret. Something locked up. Something that has not been or cannot be explained. In theology, it is a supposed truth, a fact of great religious import, which is beyond human comprehension. So the scholars and scientists who translated the Bible out of its original tongues referred to a mystery Babylon. Now, in order to understand the mysterious one, we have to know something about the known Babylon. In ancient times, Babylon, under the kings Nebuchadnezzar and Belshazzar, was the great city of idol worship and evil. She was the queen of evil, rich and well fortified. Mystery Babylon refers to a future city or a future people. No city or people answers the description better than the cities and the people of America. Oh man, a mystery Babylon. Let's look at what Revelation goes on to say. And there came one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls, and he talked with me, saying, Come unto me here, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. That's some pretty ugly descriptive language. The judgment of a great whore that sits on many waters. Waters here stands for people, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us. And these waters that the great whore sits on represents the power that she has over many nations and many people. Now, this whore, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and bedecked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said that this woman dressed in purple and scarlet color, sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast, with 7 heads and 10 horns, is referring to Rome. Rome was built on 7 hills. And this church that sits like a prostitute, that's what John the Revelator referred to him. And this is also what Martin Luther wrote when Martin Luther broke from the church. Martin Luther saw that great whore as the Pope. No, I want you to think today. Dressed in purple, royalty, sitting on a scarlet-colored beast. He is a beast supporting the prostitute. And the whore sits on many waters. She has power over many people, but she holds a golden chalice, and in it is filth and abominations of the earth. Boy, that's a heavy indictment of the so-called church. What have you done? What have you done? You have used God's name as a shield to practice dirty faith, dirty religion in his name. They came out of Europe with a cross and destroyed the peoples of the earth and brought the peoples of the earth into subjection to the image of Caucasian people. Come on now. The great Roman Emperor Constantine, who became a Christian, originated the sign of the cross with a snake wrapping itself around that cross, and the Latin words in hoc signo vinces. In this sign, or with this sign, we conquer. And with the cross, they went into Europe, Africa, Asia, and they gave people religion and took away the freedom, the justice, the equality, the raw materials of the darker people of the earth. Talk to me. With the cross, they slaughtered the native people in the Western Hemisphere, murdered the Carib Indians, enslaved the blacks. In the name of Jesus, you were heathens and unworthy to be looked upon as an equal to white people, so the church made you a nigger. Listen to me. Not the Church of Jesus Christ, but a false church operating in Jesus' name. And every one of us that have believed in that false church are like people committing fornication with her. You're laying down with a whore, and the whore is not teaching you good manners or good morals. You are a funky, filthy, low-down people that have been made that way by your so-called Christian masters. An abomination is in the church. You are not a people that Jesus can accept. You are unworthy of Jesus. Do you think that Jesus would accept you coming to him dressed like a harlot with the heart of a harlot? Talk to me. Do you think Jesus would accept you as a lesbian? You could come to him like that, but you can't remain like that and stay in the favor of Jesus. Not the Jesus, the true Jesus of the Bible and Holy Quran. No, sir. Do you think Jesus will accept you? Singing songs in the choir, songs of hope, but a homosexual, a wine bibber, a coke user? Come on now. Hell no. Hell no. Maybe the church will accept you, but Christ condemns this crap that's going on in his name. A mystery Babylon, full of abomination and filth. She's the mother of whores. Babylon, that wicked city. Her merchant ships went to all the ports of the earth, and in her were the Jews. And she mistreated the Jews, the Hebrews. And because of her mistreatment of them, one day there was some handwriting seen on the wall. These words, mene, mene, tekel, ufasin, meaning your kingdom has been weighed in the balance and found wanting. This is America. She does some good things. I won't say that she doesn't. But she's low down and filthy. You will accept her because she's made you like she is. You are not even qualified to even say what is good anymore, because you judge good by what is good to you personally. And if America lets you carry on your filth and your foolishness, she's good. In America, you're free to be a freak. But you're not free to be a righteous person. The righteous are persecuted while the wicked can have their way. She's a powerful country, but she's very wicked. Sodom and Gomorrah looks like light stuff compared to what's going on in America. The evil that brought the flood in the days of Noah, America they look like a choir boy in comparison to the evil that we are doing. You're not out of this, brothers. You're not out of this, sisters. You wrapped up in the white man. And his aim is, if I'm going down, you are the people of God, all right, but I'm going to take you down with me. That's his aim. And I'll prove it before the day is over, and then I'm through with you. I'm through with you. And what does that mean? Because there ain't no teaching gonna make you better. You so rotten that the only thing that will make you better is the chastisement of God. And because I realize that, I'm just about through teaching you anything. But I'm gonna get your blood off my hands. How is God going to destroy America? What instrument you're going to use? Whenever God gets ready to destroy any people, I mean, if you can't take it, you can hit the door. It's all right with me. You can't run from this. It'll find you in the crack house. It'll find you in the whorehouse. It'll find you in the bar room. But all your crap is going to cease. Yeah. All your crap is going to cease. God is angry. He is very angry. I didn't tell you last week I was coming out because I had not planned to. But when I went home, the next day I saw something. I said, let me go and get that blood off my hands. You will not hear a lot from me because it ain't necessary. I've really done my job. This is not about entertainment. You know? I'm going out to hear my man today. Well, what am I, a saxophone player, a singer? Is that the way you see me? I'm going out to hear my man today. What good does it do if you don't hear, you don't listen, and you don't carry into practice what you hear, what did you come to hear for? We ain't begging for ears. We're trying to get a people to change their ways. And you're not changing your ways. You hear the word while you sport and while you play. And you leave me and you go right back to the crap that you're in. So it don't make you better, but something is gonna make you better. I'm gonna tell you what that is. When God sends you a warner, he always raises the warner from among the oppressed. That's his pattern, Bible and Quran. The question is, if America is going down, and she is, who is the oppressed? It's either the Native American or you, the indigenous people. And you have suffered worse than the Native American, because the Native American can still speak some of his language. He knows something of his history, but you have been totally destroyed. And that's why God is angry with America. And you may forgive her, but I don't know that God ever will. She's gonna have to do something real big to get out from under what's coming. I intend to make this known very clearly to America. You know, some of you think that Farrakhan is crazy, you know. You know, he just says these powerful things to stir things up. No, it's bigger than that. I gotta do what I gotta do to avoid Allah's wrath on me. Look at the warner that comes to the Babylon. What is the word? Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins and of her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven. Don't integrate in her. Come out. Come out. Come out of her way of thinking. Come out of her name. Come out of her false worship. And come into a righteous code of conduct that will allow you and me to escape what God has purposed for her. Now, the question is, have you heard the warning? See, the Quran goes like this. Did not my reminder come to you? Did not my reminder come to you? Did you not hear a caller from among you inviting you to the truth? You heard it while you partied. You heard it while you played. You did hear. So the judgment has to deal with, did you hear? And how did you respond? You know America is wicked, and you know white people have been evil in their mistreatment of dark people all over the earth. So if God's judgment comes down on America, what do you have to say about it? Do you think God is unjust? If he says he wants to save you, why don't you want to be saved? Now I'm going to show you how wicked the enemy is in his plans against you. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become a habitation of demons, and a hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. See, this modern Babylon is doing what? She's falling, brother. Her money falling. Come on now. Her money falling. You that love to kill each other for paper, in a few days you see this piled up in the streets. No value to it at all. You that would slaughter another human being for the face of a dead white man. You that would sell your virtue for this, so you could have things and lose who and what God made you to be. Babylon is fallen, and look, she's become a whole of every foul spirit. You walk down the street, how's the spirit of the people? Look, mother, get off my street, get off my car, nigga, get out, blah, blah. It's what you hear. This is among you, among white folk. It may not have that same thing, but it's low down and foul. They plot the takeover of governments and nations. Plot how to use food as a weapon to starve people and force them to bow down to policies and programs that are not good. A hole of every foul spirit and a cage for every unclean and hateful bird. You know what an unclean bird is? An unclean bird is like a raven, a vulture, buzzard. You know, they live off the decaying flesh of others. This is what America has become. A house filled with foul-spirited, unclean, hateful people that feed from the decaying flesh of each other. Now, as trouble breaks out for white folk all over the world, you see them running, getting out of Africa, getting out of Asia, unclean, hateful birds. They fly into Europe, fly into America. America got her Statue of Liberty opening the door for European immigrants to come in, and when they come, they're full of hate because they lost their possession in Africa, in the Caribbean. They run to America, and they look at you with hate because your brother over there drove them out. So America has become a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived luxuriously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Mystery Babylon gonna burn. Oh man, well, let's get into it now. Y'all all right? Now listen, brothers and sisters, I want to make a few simple points here on the Day of Atonement, the Sabbath day, and the Day of Judgment. In the Old Testament, the Jews have a Day of Atonement, and it's the highest holy day in the Jewish calendar. And those who are Hebrews, whether they're black or white, observe that holy day. That Day of Atonement was a sign, not the real thing. It was a sign of something. I'm going to say it again. The Day of Atonement practiced by Jews or Hebrews all over the world is a sign of something much bigger. The Sabbath that you practice, that 24-hour period from sundown on the day of the 6th, the night of the 6th, to sundown on the 7th day is your Sabbath. And you do that once a week. That's not the real Sabbath. That's a sign. All right. Let me explain. You see, the Caucasian was given 6 days. So when Moses came, he gave them a reminder of their doom. He said, now 6 days you do your work, but in the 7th day you rest. That is a holy day that must be consecrated to God. So if you look at most of us who are Christians or Jews, we would work for 6 days and we would kind of raise a lot of hell, you know, do what you want to do 6 days. And when I was young, on the night of the 6th day, which if you were a Jew, it would be Friday evening going into Saturday. If you were a Christian, it's Saturday evening going into Sunday. Saturday night, Mom would get the children and we all would have to bathe and get washed up and get cleaned up. This was a long time ago. We only took a bath once a week during them days. Or if we only could take a bath once a week this time, man, it'd be some tough stuff around here. But on that night, Mama would get your clothes ready for church on Sunday. And you get your suit ready and your shirt and your clean underwear. And then when Sunday morning came, it was a whole different atmosphere in the house. The family gathered. There was more talk of righteousness, you know, and family matters. And you'd get ready to go to church, to attend Sunday school, then Sunday service, then you'd come back in the evening for your Vesper service or whatnot. But all of that was just a sign. A sign of what? See, a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. So what God was giving them through Moses was this. You got 6,000 years, white folk, to raise hell on this earth. But in the 7,000th year, and this is why you have a group of people called the Seventh-day Adventists, who believe that God would come in the 7th day, or the 7,000th year from Adam. So now, what you call the day, the Sabbath, is really 1,000-year period where the whole earth would be cleansed from the work of Satan. And it starts on the coming of the Mahdi and the Messiah, or God's presence in the world. Then that millennium begins. That Sabbath begins. So you're being called now to come out of the 6-day work of this enemy. Take off the old man, put on the new man. Take off the old clothes of an old world of lies and deceit and put on a clean garment of truth and righteousness. Come out of her. Now you ain't gonna be here 1,000 years. but the work of the Sabbath has already begun. It is the day when healing takes place. Okay? What did 6 days of living under white folk make out of us? Do you think we need some healing? Yes, sir. I mean, look, just look at yourself. Yes, sir. We're not what we should be. Why aren't we? We've been under Satan. So the work of Jesus and the work of the Sabbath is the same work. That's why the Jews didn't agree with Jesus. They said, look, Jesus, you say you're a Jew, but look at what you're doing. You're doing some work on the Sabbath. You should not work on the Sabbath. He said, what man having a donkey that falls in the ditch wouldn't pull him out on the Sabbath day? And then in Mark it says, the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. What does that mean? The seventh day was made for you, the original man, to clean up, to get up from the dust of the white man's world. Shake the dust off, man. Shake the shackles off and become like unto God. This is the day, listen. This is the day that was made to get you up. But the white man is not, he's not made for this day. This is the day that he rests. He is to die. In this 1,000-year period, he is to die. And the only way he can escape it is if he's born again. And I don't mean going back into the womb of black people, but his mind has to be destroyed and a new mind be put in him. And otherwise, all of them are sentenced to death. Every white man on the earth. No. Listen. That could be your mother. They're all under the death sentence. And you are under that sentence too. Because you've become just like them. You just a black white man. Did you hear what I said? You ain't no black man. You are a white man in black skin because your mind has been so destroyed. The mark of the beast is in your forehead. You think like the white man. And you act like the white man. He don't have to kill you today. You do the job. You're so filled with hatred for your own black self that it don't mean nothing to you to pick up a weapon to kill your own black brother. And you laugh as you smoke each other. You the white man. But you a grafted white man. You a devil. You a black devil. Playing with God. Devils in the church. Devils in the mosque. Hellraisers. This is you. You ain't no good. And unless you change, the sentence of death is on us all. And before I leave today, I'm going to make you to know that you will not be alive too much longer unless you make a change. That white dress ain't going to save you. That bow tie is not going to save you. Wearing the Quran, holding the Bible ain't going to save a damn soul. You're either going to change and do right or die like you are. But death is in America now. It's what I come to tell you today, and you won't hear from me no more for a while, but I'm putting it on your mind. And you'll never be able to say I didn't tell you. You're playing with God, and he's sick of you and me and us. Now, here you have a day of atonement. It's like the Sabbath. 24-hour period? No. It's a period of time that you got, and you don't have much longer. You got to get it together. It's a time, brothers, when you got to, and sisters, where you got to admit that you're off course. I'm wrong, God. You got to say like the prodigal son, Father, I have sinned, and I'm no longer worthy to be called your own. You got to confess, black man, that you're wrong, and you got to make it right. And you ain't got a long time. You playing with women, making them pregnant, running away from responsibility. Did you ever think you're going to have to pay for that? You gang banging and killing your people. Did you ever think you were going to have to pay for that? Did you think you got away smoking your brother? The white man don't give a damn, but there's a God that does. There's a God that does. The Day of Atonement is now. It's not a one day. You got to come clean now. You got to make a decision now that you're going to change the way you live. And every day you have to say, well, man, I got to clean this up. Yes, sir. I got to clean this up. And you have to acknowledge where you went wrong. Yes, sir. And look at the standard of what is right and then try to measure up. The Day of Atonement is that period of grace. I don't mean to be so emotional, you know, but I'm hurting inside because I realize now that nothing that I say is going to make you better. And so there's no sense in talking to you anymore. Because you want entertainment. You don't want right. You want to be able to point to white folks, them devils, but you don't want to look at yourself. You're giving each other hell every day. You slandering each other, lying on each other, gossiping on each other, messing in each other's families. You're doing all kinds of crap. And you don't want to change. I'm a Muslim. The hell you are. I'm a Christian. When? Who says so? We're going to have to make it right. And God is not going to accept nothing less. You can't proposition him. You can't come and, well, look, God, let's make a deal. If you do this for me, I'll do this for you. He said, hell no. It's unconditional surrender. Either you do or I'm going to kill you. And you know what? Do you know what? You don't deserve to live on God's earth in his universe and don't want to respect the architect of your life and this universe. He won't rest until every disbeliever is off the face of the earth. Ain't got nothing to do with color. So don't think blackness is going to save you. Otherwise, Al Jolson might have made it. Al Jolson is the Jewish fella that used to make his face black and get down on one knee singing Mammy. Oh, you can paint your face black or white. It ain't about your color, baby. It's about the quality of your faith, your heart, and your willingness to make a change in your life. I'm really here today to appeal to us and to plead with you. Try and save yourself. Try and save yourself. Because some stuff is about to go down, and I'd like to tell you what it is, and then I'm through. You see, for people to say to Farrakhan that you didn't observe the Day of Atonement, if you didn't observe it on the day that the scriptures of the Old Testament say, you don't quite understand. You're doing by me the same thing that the old legalists among the Jews did by Jesus. And really, you don't really understand your book. We are here to fulfill it. The day of judgment is not a 24-hour period. It has to do with a time when God's decision against all of this world comes down and he begins to work to burn it. And the fire has already started, but it will culminate in a literal fire. I want you to please hear me. The word of truth is like the fire of the sun. When it strikes, it starts burning. So really, the truth itself is burning up the institutions, the lies, the world. It started a fire in you. You may not want to act right, but the fire is burning. When you know the truth, man, you're responsible. You can't play no game with God like you didn't hear. Because ain't one of you, including these little young people that's in here today, and I want you to know that God don't give a damn about how young you are. He will kill you with your young behind. Did you hear me? So don't you think because you're a child, you got some way that you can say, well, I was a child. Hell no. This book, Quran and the Bible say he takes you in the cradle. He don't care nothing about your youth. We don't have a different law for old people and another one for young people. It's one law for all. And either you're going to live by it or you're going to die by it, but that's your decision. He kills children, as you soon will see. Ain't no hiding place for nobody. Not the preacher of the word, nor the hearers of the word. Ain't no hiding place. Now this last 6 that deals with grace. See, grace is when God renders a decision against a people, a nation, and a world where evil is such that God has found that that people or nation is wanting, and he determines to destroy that people, that nation, and that world. Then he raises from among the people an apostle, a messenger, a prophet, to make that people aware of his judgment and his intentions. Then he gives the people time to recognize their own evil, atone, repent, and to plead for his forgiveness. And if there is no change, then even before that, after he sends the messenger, listen, he seizes the nation, the people, with distress and affliction to let you know that there's something powerful coming. He hits you and he takes it up off you. Every one of you is getting something right now.